This is your mixing box section. You got your fresh air coming in from the outside. You got your return air as well coming in to this mixing box section. Handle right here, open it up. Pretty basic. You have your Blemo actuators and your dampers, auto dampers. These will modulate with the control system. This is your filter section. This is your heating coil section. And this is your cooling coil section. This is your drain line for your condensate off of your cooling coil section. To open into the filters, take these two tabs, open, twist these counterclockwise, and you got these filters here. These are your pre-filters, 2-inch. These are your final filters, 4-inch. There's a pull tab right here, and you'll pull these out, and you can take these out one at a time. The pre-filter is obviously going to catch most of your large particulates. The final filter, the 4-inch, is going to be your fine particulates. These should be checked and even replaced quarterly. You may be able to get away with every 6 months, but definitely your pre-filters, definitely want to check those quarterly. When you're obviously installing them, airflow is going from the mixing box to the supply fan side through the coils. Make sure you're putting those in correctly. And shut the door. Line these tabs up. And they can be sometimes tricky if you don't get them lined up, but make sure you got them centered up good. Okay, and on to the coil section. This is the heating water system used for heat. To pull these coils, you're going to have to completely take off all these panels, disconnect the piping, disconnect the refrigeration piping, and pull these out as a section. Located here, you have your condensate drain line off of your cooling coil, and has a stainless steel drain pan. Good to check in here for large particulates. More likely you're not going to get anything past the filter section to get in here, but always good to check to make sure you have no leakage on the floor here. This section here is your fan section and control panel section. Right here is basically all controls. It's got your VFD for to modulate the fans, and all your controls tie-ins. These will be gone over with Sunbelt controls. Once you're done with all the maintenance on this particular unit, turn on the disconnect. It will take a little while for it to start up and reset, but it should go right back to factory controlled specs. Within this mechanical room mezzanine, this is a VFD for exhaust fan 1, which is located downstairs. This is your disconnect for that fan. And here's the stop, there's the run. You need to work on that fan, you need to come shut this off. Located in the mechanical room mezzanine, above the racquetball courts, the old racquetball courts, is a smoke detector for AHU1. Good thing to check this thing. If you could have an alarm. A lot of times it's just dust buildup inside the head. Take these bolts out, clean it out with some air, and install it back in. Good thing to check these as well. You will be checking these with the yearly fire alarm safety tests. All right, located in the entry vestibules, there are cabinet unit heaters. To get to them, obviously, access doors. Open up the bottom panel. Okay, once you get the access door open, you got your coil up here, hydronic heating. You got your duct connections going out. You got your fan blower, and you got your filter mesh. This is a not a filter, a standard pleated filter. This is just a washable. So you guys can pull this out. Any kind of dust, debris, just blow it out with some air. Outside, obviously. Located in the classrooms on the west end, on the lower level, there's electric cabinet unit heaters. There's 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, and 4. To get to the filters on these, you take this panel out, 2 screws, screwdriver, and you will, right there is your filter. It's just basically just a pre-filter, really. Large particulates. And you can get to your motors right here. You have a high-low switch right here. You have a thermostat here set on low. These are basically for, it's ducted back, returns right here. It's just pulling air from above the ceiling. Your disconnect's right here. There's your disconnect. You can get to your fans. These are a direct drive fan, no belts, low maintenance, already pre-lubricated from the factory, and should run for a long, long time. Of all the 5 rooftop units you have at McNeil here, AHU5 is special. It has a power exhaust feature. This is your outside air intake hood. Here's your power exhaust hood. This section here is your filter section. You got your dampers there too. This section here is your cooling coil section with stainless drain pan. Goes to condensate line, wraps around. You got your P-traps there. And then you got this section is your fan section, supply fan section. Supply fan right there is direct drive. No maintenance really, no lubrication on these. Underneath you got your horizontal heating coils. DX cooling, hydronic heating. All right, within your filter section, you have your 2-inch pre-filters and your 4-inch final filters. These are also, here's your sensors for your Magna Helix, 1 on each side, 2 on each side to check the pressures. Obvious basic airflow going towards the supply fan. So make sure your filters are installed the right way. On the west side of AHU5, or rooftop unit 5, however, is your power exhaust fan, located right there. Both sides, both wings have automatic dampers that modulate with building pressure and the controls sequence. This fan is very easy to get to. Check the edges of the fan, make sure they're not rubbing. All right. Exhaust fans 3, 4, and 6 located on the roof are all kind of the same style. You're going to pull open the lid, and inside right here is your on-off switch, your disconnect. It's off right now. Here's your belt. It's an AP33. Number 3 is an AX27. So just keep that in mind when you go to replace these belts. Come up and check these periodically. Every time you're up here changing filters, check these. Just check the belts and see the wear and tear on them. Alignment, up, down on the shivs. You want them nice and straight. Not too tight. You want a little tension, or you don't want too much tension in them. It will wear the belts unevenly and a lot quicker. So a little bit of slop in them is good. Motor right here, no maintenance really needed other than checking these belts. You do have grease zerts on these belt driven fans that are down here on these shafts, on these bearings. You got a set right there and a set on the upper and a set on the lower. You'll want to grease those yearly. It's a good idea. Not too much grease, just a little bit is all it needs. A pump till you see it squish out. So that's that. Turn the fan back on and put the lid back on. Before opening any of the panels on these split systems, you should turn off the disconnect. This middle one is for ACCU2. These are for 3 and 4, respectively. Opening up the panel on ACCU1, you have your control board here. You have your power right here. You have your compressor at the bottom. And here are your liquid and suction lines. This is where you would decommission the unit, these ports, if you needed to pull refrigerant, add refrigerant, check levels. This is where you do it. If you guys get a lot of snow buildup, which sometimes you do down here in Ashland, come out here and check this. Try to make sure you keep the snow away from these as much as possible. All right, RT1, first thing first. Shut the disconnect off, do maintenance. You'll hear it wind down. You'll watch the relief dampers shut. On the south end of RTU1 is your compressors, your VFDs, your Magna Helix, your basic cabinet for these RTUs. Has all your controls and package controls in them, all your fuses, electrical stuff here. RTU1 consists of your power exhaust section, your outside air filter section, and your heat recovery wheel, your main filter section. This compartment in here is your cooling coils section, your DX cooling coils, and your stainless drain pan, condensate line. And this section right here, you have to take all these bolts out, but this is your supply fan section with your heating coils underneath. To pull the coils, you'd have to take all this out. Take these screws out, pull the coils. You could do that from either side. Now these two fans, these supply fans, are direct drive. Same deal as most everything on this project. Very low maintenance. Very low maintenance, and should have long life. But if there is a problem, balance, anything like that, I would consider calling Johnson Barrows or Aeon Direct to get help to do that, because they're not an item that you really want to mess with. So this section over here is all your condensing coils. To remove these screens, you just take these clips off. There. All right. You can get to the coils right here to maintenance clean them. You'll have to take them all out, both sides. Use your coil cleaner. Within the O&M, it gives guides of what they recommend. And then rinse with water. Within RTU1, here's your outside air filters. These are going to get a lot more abuse than the others. They're pulling in fresh air. So pop those clips open down there, reach in, grab it. Airflow's going that way. Then you slide this one back over, pop it out, and then you'll pull the other one this way. There's top ones as well up here, and then there is another door on the other side to get to the other side. Then internal in here is your heat wheel on this side over here. This wheel spins counterclockwise, both sides, 2 fan motors. This heat wheel is going to pick up the exhaust coming this way for your exhaust fans right over here. Air's going to be going this way, picking up heat, and then preheating the outside fresh air back into the unit. Within the O&Ms, there's instructions on cleaning and maintaining these as well. Within RTU1, here's your filter bank. Within this filter bank, you got your pre-filters and you got your final filters. Airflow is going that way. They've got filter pulls, and you can just pull them out. Recommend checking the MagnaHelic and pressures on that side, but definitely at least a quarterly filter change every 3 months. All right, within RTU1, you can walk in to this section. This is your cooling coils, your DX coils. These are made to be cleaned right here inside the unit. Let everything go down to the ground. It'll go out the drains. Use coil cleaner recommended within the O&Ms, and it should be safe with all this copper lines and everything. Make sure drains don't get blocked right here to this upper pan, and then you can check your outer pan is down here on the bottom left-hand corner. All right, located under the supply and returns for RTU1 is an access door. To get to it, come underneath, pop it open. These are fusible link fire dampers. They don't have a motor. The fusible links are on a curtain system. When they get to 180 or 165, they will melt and drop the fire dampers. Sometimes these do give out, not even under heat, and it's just good to check them, because if one of the 4 banks shut, you're not getting airflow. So come and check these when you guys are up here checking your filters and changing your filters out. If they shut, they're spring loaded. You're gonna have to use a jack to get them up, but you'll have to climb in and do that. Okay, RTU4 feeds the shaft ductwork. Supply and return sides both have fire smoke damper access. One is located just around the corner from those exhaust fans, and then the other one you got to go all the way around 4 along the wall, and you can get to it. So within here, you got your damper access right here. You can visually inspect that they're operating. Right now they're open. During a fire alarm test, you would inspect these to make sure that they're opening and closing with the fire alarm system. Generally they do that yearly. Pull this panel 5/16 screws. You can get to your fire damper actuator and your reset. These are going to be your reset switches to test. When you do test for fire alarm and fire safety, you can manually test these as well. You're done with that, put the panel back on, and you're good to go. Real close to that fire smoke damper we just talked about is your duct smoke detector for RTU4. Take the panel off, it's right here. You're gonna have to test these as well. You may get some dust buildup, alarm, trip a signal. You pull this off, clean the dust out, place it back in, or replace the actual detector if it's faulty. And this is where you do that. All right, up here on the roof, we got EF5, it's an upblast duty fan. You're gonna turn the breaker off for maintenance. You're going to let it wind down. You'll take out 5/16 screws on each side of this cover and the top one. Loosen that one. This belt right here is Carlisle 184. You will just come and check the tension of these. Check the tension, check the wear, replace it once you start seeing cracks, just like any belt maintenance. Fan motor, No extra steps needed for that. To take the belts off, you take this tensioner, you loosen these tensioners, let this raise. You can get the belt off easily. Replace the motor as well. Do the same thing. You take all that apart, put a new motor on the housing, and get the tension correct by these bolts.